ended up with Nash leading the Big Show, Booker T, Shawn Michaels was in there at one point. You're like, what the hell is this guy doing in NWO? Just reminded me of Sri Lanka's chaotic team selection over the past few years. So I compared them to the stable rather than a specific wrestler.
I think for me, Sri Lanka is Charles Wright. We spoke about Papa Shango earlier. They've always had those mysterious characters, but they've never stuck to one character for too long. And during the late 90s, their best run was when the Godfather also had their best run. I'm not saying Sri Lanka brought host to the cricket field, thankfully. I don't know, maybe not thankfully, but they did not. I thought they were like they're Charles Wright, and they played so many characters. Then there was a time when when Sangakkara came in, they went from the Godfather to the Good Father. Everything was, they had to say all the right things, and that's what Charles Wright was. But in reality, they were that Jayasuriya era, and they've really since tried to recapture that glory of the late 90s, the Godfather, but it never has happened. But they've still produced those random mystery spinners here and there.
Aatif.
The Charles Wright bought me a Diet Coke once, by the way. Just thought I'll tell you that story another time. For me, Sri Lanka are TNA / Impact Wrestling / NWA TNA / GFW, whatever name they've given their promotion at the moment, right? They were very promising when they came on the scene. They even registered a few wins, a couple of really good buy rates. They got a hold of some really good talent. They had Angle, they had AJ Styles, Angelo Matthews is AJ Styles, right? Except he hasn't found his WWE yet. But they had him, and they just didn't use him properly. They put him in all the wrong storylines. They wouldn't use him as the head of the promotion. They wouldn't build the promotion around him like they should have done. They keep chopping and changing their titles, just like their branding and their names. They brought in all these new titles. There was like a grand champion. They kept changing the rules as well. And don't forget, they were very innovative in the beginning. TNA, when they came on the scene, they had the 6-sided ring. They had the X Division, some really, really cool concepts, the King of the Mountain match. Like, these are really cool ideas, just like Sri Lanka brought really good ideas to one-day cricket, to playing the first 10 overs, basically inventing power play batting before there was a power play. And, TNA did the same thing. But, like, where are they now? They have to qualify for stuff. They're not even second best anymore. They've been lapped by AEW. They've almost been lapped by Ring of Honor. So, for me, hopefully there's a comeback in them, by the way. I have goodwill towards them because I want them to do well because it's good for the overall landscape. But right now, they're just sort of a bit all over the place, and they're barely qualifying. And that's NWA, TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever they call it at the moment. Most commonly called TNA, but I think officially called Impact Wrestling right now. Sri Lanka, Impact.
My vote goes to, all of us have gone for some kind of evolution. Actually, I'm going to go for Aatif's TNA one, actually. I'm going to go for that.
I'm going to go for the Charles Wright comparison.
Oh, pressure on me. This is like playing X cross. What do you call it? Like X and 0 is what we used to call it in
Noughts and crosses.
Noughts and crosses. That's what the white folk call it. But I think I'm going with TNA. I think it was a very good explanation from Aatif. Yeah. They had everything going for them. They've tried different things, even though the X division there are no rules. That was the only concept. And Sri Lanka had a lot of strategies like that, which made no sense to anyone else but them. So I'm going with Aatif's TNA Impact.
Yeah, I thought everybody's answers were really good. Actually, I like the Charles Wright answer. I just can't put him in that bracket right now, just because I think he's really happy and settled in his life at the moment, Charles. He's very happy. So I like NWO. I think it makes sense. You don't really know. No, it was once a really great brand name. It's kind of tainted now. Loads of random spin-offs, loads of new ideas and relaunches, but it doesn't quite work. But it still has that legacy. So they could bring back the NWO tomorrow, and if booked correctly, it could be a huge angle. So I'm gonna go NWO, but I still win though, innit?
Yeah, you did.
Just making sure.
TNA Impact.
Wicked.
Bangladesh. Bangladesh. So I'll be surprised if I win this one. So with Bangladesh, I've gone for Matt Hardy. Now, the reasoning, and I'm not totally convinced, so I don't know why I'm trying to sell it, but the reason I've gone for Matt Hardy is because Matt Hardy it has never main evented, or even if I think he might have main evented when it was him and Edge in that real life Lita feud. I can't remember, but
and TNA and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not even counting that, because basically the point in going for Matt Hardy is that it doesn't matter how many times Bangladesh try and reinvent themselves, they still will never main event. They will still be seen as the lesser of two brothers. And it doesn't matter what character they put themselves in, they will still be seen as a bit of a joke and somebody who has never really got beyond the mid card, even if there is talent there. So they can have a Shakib, but they'll still be seen as a mid card team that everybody is expected to beat. So I thought actually that has to fit someone like a Matt Hardy, where there's a bit of respect, but you just don't see him as anything more than a mid carder. Santoki.
Yeah, I found Bangladesh tough as well. In the end, Mash, I went with someone who you'd mentioned before. I went with The Miz, purely because Bangladesh are the first team I can remember getting test match status, and they weren't taken seriously when they entered the test match arena. Similar to The Miz being a reality TV star, not being taken seriously when he came into WWE. As you said, Mash, they haven't really reached main event level, but The Miz has had some highs. He's won the world title. Bangladesh as well have had highs. They've got test wins over England, Australia at home. So there have been ups for them, but as well, they've never cemented their status as a main event. They're sort of just languishing in the mid card. So for me, Miz, Bangladesh, quite similar.
I think Bangladesh for me is Jeff Jarrett. Are they a face team? Are they a heel team? Are they main event? Are they mid card? Are they upper mid card? You never know. They have a cool, wonderful national anthem. Jeff Jarrett has always had really cool entrance theme music. But yeah, I mean, they're generally known for, like Jeff Jarrett was known for just smashing his guitar, though he had other skills, but it never came through. It was only, that's what I think Jim Cornette said, or somebody else said, he just smashed 60,000 guitars and it still did not get over. So, and that's Bangladesh, right? You'll remember for them, for this one moment, like one shot or one thing, or Shakib Al Hasan kicking the stumps down. That's such a Jeff Jarrett move. Right, when you're in the lower leagues, you try to put yourself over, and which is what Shakib did, and they never really get anywhere. Like, they don't win anything of note. Like Jeff Jarrett, they might have to start their own promotion and try something out there. But yeah, they're Jeff. For me, they are very random, like Jeff Jarrett.
Aatif.
Yeah, and like Jeff Jarrett, they owe a few checks to people from the BPL. But yeah, I actually did this one on Twitter a few weeks ago, and I really upset a lot of people by suggesting that Bangladesh are Batista, right? You have no idea how upset people will get. How can they be? I could read the accent through the thing, man. How can you make Bangladesh Batista? Like, how can you? People were getting so angry, right? And I'm like, bro, just chill. They're like, no, if anything, he's Rey Mysterio. And it took me a while to work out. That's a short joke, right? I didn't realize that's what they were doing. It took me a while to think about it. But it's Batista. They are Batista. I'll tell you why, right? They were brought in by their buddy who saw potential, i.e. Triple H / Pakistan. Yeah, but eventually they were taken over by the more powerful buddy, i.e. Hollywood, i.e. India, right? And like they took control of them, they molded them a little bit. And like since they've gone to Hollywood, like they've done all right. They haven't really smashed it. Like some people expected them to be a bit more like The Rock, make these big films, become a big star. He was in James Bond. He had a couple of nice moments, but never really became a big like movie star. Okay, he's in an ensemble with Guardians of the Galaxy, but are you going to go watch Batista by himself? They need to be paired opposite somebody else to make them interesting. You respect the hustle. They've done really well at a late age, or late stage in their life. He was 35 when he debuted, Batista. Bangladesh, they'd been existed for a very long time before they actually became a cricket or got a test status as a cricket team. So Batista, I think comparison also, like they're celebrated for a lot of their skills, but how much can they really do in the ring when you really boil it down, right? How much are they really capable of doing? Yeah, they got a couple of Shakib is great, Tamim is great, Mustafa Vizir, there's a bit of stuff there, but you don't have to look too far before you have to start referencing the Tapash Baisas and the Abdul Razaks of the world. So I'm just saying, Batista, like just have a little look at his Wikipedia page. It ain't as long as you think it is.
Boy, no one in Bangladesh better listen to this, you know.
I know, we really hope so. We're not getting visas to Bangladesh anytime soon. Let me just say to my Bangladeshi fans out there, look, Bangladesh are very good at home. Jeff Jarrett was a champion in TNA. So, it works out. It's all right.
I'm voting. I'm going to go for The Miz, actually, because I think Santoki's reference to being like getting test status and nobody taking them seriously. Yeah, I think Santoki's right to make that reference to The Miz. Yeah, The Miz. I'm going for The Miz.
I'm going to go for Jeff Jarrett.
I'm actually going Miz. Yeah, that was a good one because that was one name I flirted with when I thought of Bangladesh. I mean, they're the ones who are saying the "I'm awesome" thing kind of goes with a lot of people around Bangladesh cricket, not so much the players.
I like the Miz as well. I think it does kind of fit, but there's something about that explanation that you gave, Bharat. Who was it for again?
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett, yeah. No, it's good. It's good because it fits on so many. Like in my mind, while you were saying it, like 15 different jokes came to mind about having to spell his name out all the time. Like I was on commentary today for Bangladesh versus Papua New Guinea, and I got told off because Nurul Hassan had a different name on the back of his shirt, and I was always wearing somebody else's shirt, and I got like 16 tweets saying, "No, you idiot! Actually, it's his third name, and it's very common in Bangladesh for people to have their third name on the back of their shirt." And I'm like, "Chill out, geezer." Jeff Jarrett for sure.
Right, crowd, you'll have to make that decision whether it's The Miz or Jeff Jarrett because they've tied. So, crowd will see what you say in the comments as to who gets that. The final two should be the quickest two simply because, well, no disrespect, Scotland or Ireland fans, and we're assuming at this stage that Ireland get in. But with Scotland first, I'm going to do mine quick. I went for Colt Cabana, indie hero, loved by Scotland are loved by associate cricket people. Colt Cabana is loved on the indie scene. But when they come to the main event and the big leagues, step carefully here. When they come into the big leagues, the big cricket fans, we don't care. Sorry, we don't care. Scotland are an associate team and they're loved by associate people. So I'm going for an indie hero and it's Colt Cabana. There, I said it. Scotland fans cancel me. Santoki.
Scotland, I'm going for Maven. Have to jump through a lot of hoops just to be able to take on one of the main roster.
Wow. I'm going to show Scotland some love. I'm going to call them Booker T when they were coming into WWE, right? Like, they did, like you said, WCW towards the end was the lower league, right? And they made him champion. Like Scotland are now, the first associate team, I guess, to qualify for the main draw, the Super 12s. And who knows? It's up to the ICC. I'm putting pressure on the ICC to make them champion. There you go. There you go, Scottish fans. There's some love for you.
I love how you kind of implied that cricket is scripted, but that's cool. For me, if it was the same, I'd go. I think Scotland is Daniel Bryan when he debuted on NXT, the original NXT, because he's got a lot of hype. He's done a lot of cool stuff in the indies, similar the train of thought to what you guys were saying, right? Like he's gone and done amazing things in the associate world, got some wins over some big main stars as well. Scotland won 3 out of 3 in this T20 World Cup so far. So and it's promising. They've got a promising future, but they're going to have to work hard for it. It depends on how WWE booked them on the main roster. They could get the tours, they could get the support, they could become a huge star, the Scotland team, or they could languish. It totally depends on how they're going to be booked, and that's exactly the predicament Daniel Bryan was in back in 2010-11, I think it was. And who knows? Maybe Scotland's are going to have a Yeselmania moment in 6 years' time. Who knows? It would be really cool if it happened. There's very few things in wrestling that have ever made me as happy as when Daniel Bryan won his world title at WrestleMania 30. I'd love to see Scotland do the same thing. So I think Scotland are Daniel Bryan of NXT.
I'm gonna go with Daniel Bryan, but NXT Daniel Bryan, obviously. Just specifically that. Yes, I'll go with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, same. NXT Daniel Bryan was a good comparison.
Okay. I'm going with Booker T. Okay, sorry. I think Daniel Bryan is like, I think we're all on the same page, but I think Daniel Bryan, just the name stands out.
Yeah, I would have gone Booker T, but mostly I would have gone Bad Bunny actually, because he's better known for something else. But showed great promise. So maybe he's got a future in it. But eventually, he's going to go back and play football anyway. So that's Bad Bunny. I would have gone with Bad Bunny, but I thought I'm playing to win, innit?
And so who? Oh, and yeah, Aatif on that. So the final team, we're assuming it's Ireland. So apologies if when this comes out, it was actually Namibia who made it through, but we're going to assume it's Ireland for the sake of doing this. And thing is, this is going to sound lazy, but I actually do believe this. I'm going for Finlay. I think it does have to be Finlay because Finlay's entrance music was "My name's Finlay and I love to fight." And I'm just like, well, if that doesn't evoke what the Irish cricket team has been about in terms of how they've competed again and again and again, despite whatever disadvantages they've had, I think that tagline of Finlay and then walking down to the ring and just getting into a brawl. Yeah, I think that actually is Ireland. Santelki.
I've only given this about 10 seconds thought, but I'm going to go with Adam Cole. I think Ireland, Adam Cole, been tearing it up on the Indies. Adam Cole, he's never had the opportunity until now when he's gone to AEW, similar to Ireland getting test cricket, but they haven't played many test matches. So they got the reputation of tearing it up in the Indies, but they still have to have the platform to kind of prove it on the main stage.
I know Drew McIntyre is from Scotland, but I'm going with Drew McIntyre for Ireland because there was that phase in 2007 to 2011 when people running the sport showed them some love. They were given a few main event gigs and they earned it at that point. And then they fell away and they got into a 3-man band like situation with Scotland and maybe Afghanistan, and they kept playing with each other and they just faded away. And then they've come back strong in the last couple of years, I guess. And now could be the time when, they start making really bad jokes like Drew McIntyre seems to do these days, cut some really poor promos, but still perform well in the ring.
I can't believe you guys have missed. This was an open goal, guys. Ireland are Finn Balor. Of course they are. They're Finn Balor. Think about it. Had a very celebrated run in the other company in New Japan. Came in with a lot of hype. Came into NXT. Came to the main roster. Had some troubles translating that hype. They have to resort to like this demon character. Okay, the demon analogy doesn't really fit, but like everything else is there, right? He came on board. There were high expectations, really high expectations. This guy's going to be the next big draw. His opening was really big as well. Ireland played their first test against Pakistan and Malahide. I remember I was there and they nearly won. They came really close to beating that Pakistan side in their first test match. But since then, they've just kind of faltered a little bit. Okay, they haven't had the best booking. They haven't had the best support from the bookers in terms of who they're playing and getting the tours as often as they can. Pandemic didn't help them either. But the future is still bright and there's an immense amount of talent there. And they're kind of a mainstay. They're there now. They're in the mix. They're not quite main event, but they're still in the mix and there's still a lot of potential. So I went Finn Balor, also because he's Irish and I'm lazy.
I am going to go for... I actually want to vote for my own, but of the three, the one that makes more sense to me is Finn Balor.
I'm going to go Drew McIntyre because I like the 3-man band connection with Scotland and Afghanistan.
Yeah, I'm going for anyone who Aatif didn't go for, so not Finn Balor. I'm going Finlay.
I'm going to go Finlay as well, actually, just because I like Finlay and I think he was really underrated. And yeah, I think, again, he sort of opened the door and he kind of went along with everything. Finlay was one of those guys, I think, Saturn would have been even better than Finlay because Perry Saturn got some really crappy gimmicks, but he made them work, right? And Ireland are like that as well. Even their women's team, like they get really crappy, not crappy sides to play with, but like less box office sides to play with on a regular basis, but they make the most of them. They get TV deals. They've got Nobby on the commentary, regardless of where they are in the world. Like they manage to make the most of it. So I think, Finlay's a good shout. I think he's a very good shout. Also, I'm pretty sure Andy Balbirnie has a shillelagh somewhere.
They just need a Hans Wally somewhere.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in the if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it in the description, and obviously, if you're listening to it on a podcast of your choice, you'll also see it in the description. So, just to quickly run down, we've gone for England Triple H, Pakistan Ultimate Warrior, West Indies. That's open to the crowd to vote on when you to go back through and decide which one should have won. Australia Goldberg, India Vince McMahon, New Zealand Kofi Kingston, Afghanistan is open to the crowd. South Africa Scott Hall. Sri Lanka, TNA Impact Wrestling, the whole organization. Bangladesh is open to the crowd. Scotland is Daniel Bryan when he debuted in NXT. And Ireland is Finley. People, if you disagree with any of that, you can find Santoki, Aatif, and Bharat all on Twitter. Please go and at them and talk about the disgusting choices they made. Their Twitters are open and ready to deal with whatever you have to say. But if you joined us on the YouTube, or if you joined us on the podcast platform of your choice, thank you very much. It's obviously been an extended episode because this was always going to be a long one between 4 wrestling marks. But final words from our panel today. Santoki, you first.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for joining us. Been thoroughly enjoying talking about wrestling and cricket, 2 passions we both have. And yeah, we'll link up again and try and think of another wrestling theme episode as an excuse to get us all back on.
Over to you, Bharat.
No, I think you guys have realized by bringing Aatif and me in, you brought the click in. Yeah, there was some picks there that were made just because we didn't want. We kind of, we used our creative control and fixed this whole thing game with you, Aatif. So yeah, this is what we get. No, it's always fun talking wrestling and cricket. But yeah, I can't wait to do this. We should do this more often, seriously.
Yeah, like maybe we could do it with all the leagues. Like we could do the CPL teams, the IPL teams, the PSL teams. We could do it. We could do loads of these little spin-offs. But see, if this gets more than like 25 views, then we'll do that if you want. But to be honest with you, I really enjoyed this. I do this just for jokes. I've been sitting here for 1 hour and 47 minutes. Anybody who knows me knows I need nicotine more often than that. But I've just been sitting here and really enjoying myself in a Holiday Inn in Salford in Manchester. And it's like 1:45 to midnight. I'm having a wicked time. This was way more fun than Crown Jewel. I'll tell you that much.
And there's no better way.
And then the best part is none of us brought up Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock. That just tells you how crazily obsessive or obsessed cricket wrestling marks we are. People would tune in and say, they must have picked one Stone Cold, one Rock. But there's no mention, not even in our nominations. So that just tells you how unnecessarily obsessed we are with wrestling.
So, ladies and gents, this goes out to you once this, obviously on the day this has dropped. We'll see if this does get more than 25 views total. And if it does, we may think about getting the band back together for one last go at the titles. That's been episode 51 of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you and good night.
We rule the cricket world.